mynews.studio.
10 countries just pledged €1 trillion to transform the North Sea into a massive clean energy hub. Can one sea really power 143 million homes?
Today's date is January 31st, 2026. Let's dive in. At the North Sea Summit in Hamburg, leaders from Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Iceland, Ireland, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Norway, and the UK signed what's called the Hamburg Declaration. Why now? Why take action at this scale?
The urgency is hard to ignore. Europe's energy crisis, which really escalated after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, forced everyone to reassess. Fossil fuels became a leverage point, supply chains were exposed, and infrastructure felt vulnerable, especially with concerns about Russian cyber attacks. There's also tension in U.S. relations, and wind investments have slowed down, partly because of rising costs.
That's a lot to manage. So current offshore wind capacity stands at 37 gigawatts, right? And the goal for 2030 is much higher.
Right. The long-term target is 300 gigawatts by 2050, with 100 gigawatts from joint hybrid projects. These aren't just standard wind farms. They're connected across borders with multi-purpose HVDC cables, sharing both electricity and green hydrogen production.
Wait, let me check. When you say hybrid interconnectors, does that mean wind farms in the North Sea can deliver power to more than one country at once?
Exactly. Think of the Bornholm Energy Island. It sends 3 gigawatts to both Germany and Denmark. The cables are H2 ready, so they're set up to deliver renewable energy directly to electrolysis plants for green hydrogen.
So instead of each country building isolated wind farms, they're pooling resources, sharing the grid, and balancing supply and demand across borders. What about the cost, though?
Governments have committed to 15 gigawatts of new wind projects every year from 2031 to 2040. They're using stable tenders, two-sided contracts for difference, and tweaking rules around power purchase agreements to make it attractive for investors. The total investment? Around €1 trillion, coming from both public and private sectors.
That's a huge sum, but with the US slowing some climate spending and Russia still a risk, what keeps these projects secure and funded?
They're simplifying cross-border permits, creating a voluntary offshore financing framework, and listing these as EU projects of common interest. NATO is involved in physical and cybersecurity. Plus, they're standardizing manufacturing to make the system more resilient. It's not just about wind power. It's about securing energy independence.
And with these hybrid interconnectors, could Europe actually scale up green hydrogen enough to start replacing imported fossil fuels?
That's the aim. The cables can deliver cheap, consistent, renewable electricity straight to electrolysis plants. With 100 gigawatts of shared capacity, you can produce a lot of green hydrogen, decarbonize heavy industry, and reduce reliance on imported gas.
Are there any real-world examples of this working yet?
Yes, Germany and Denmark's Bornholm Energy Island is already running, with 3 gigawatts linking both grids. There's also a planned UK-Germany hybrid interconnector for the mid-2030s. Markets have responded well. Vestas and Ørsted shares have risen.
So, this isn't just a European experiment. Could it be used in places like the US Atlantic or Asia Pacific?
Yes, absolutely. The working groups formed under the Hamburg Declaration are already coordinating planning, joint tenders, and making sure grids are compatible. The model could cut costs by up to 30% by 2040. It's breaking down national barriers, a blueprint for any region facing similar energy security challenges.
So really, this is Europe treating energy policy as climate policy, security policy, and industrial strategy all at once?
That's the essence. The North Sea is turning into a green power station for Europe, lowering bills, cutting emissions, and creating jobs. It's a coordinated, multinational approach, which is something global climate efforts often struggle with.
We've covered a lot: the geopolitics, the technology, the finances, and why the world is paying attention. Thanks for explaining it all.
This story began with a major summit, but it's really about a fresh strategy for energy independence. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening. This episode comes from mynews.studio. You can try it for free.